Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're uncovering how an ancient, millennia-old crop is getting a massive biological upgrade to help solve some of our most pressing modern agricultural crises. I want you to think about this for a second. Could one single plant actually rebuild degraded soils, provide carbon-neutral building materials, and offer therapeutic healing? Well, we're going to explore a revolutionary Ukrainian supercrop that essentially acts as the ultimate agricultural Swiss Army knife. It's a really fascinating story that bridges ancient history right up to cutting-edge agronomy. We've got a packed agenda today. We're going to start by tracing the hemp renaissance, clear up the confusion between technical and narcotic hemp, and then introduce you to a game-changing universal cultivar named Mriya. From there, we'll break down the economics of its versatility, see how it stacks up against European strains, and wrap up with what this means for the bioeconomy of tomorrow. Let's kick things off by looking at the history. We really need to understand how we got to this incredible agricultural turning point in Ukraine. It's a wild timeline when you look at it. Notice the dramatic rise, fall, and rebirth of this crop. For literally thousands of years, hemp was an absolute staple. It was in the ropes, in sails of ships, woven into everyday fabrics, and even eaten as food. But then, the late 20th century hit. Strict legislative bans basically confused industrial hemp with its psychoactive cousins, and that caused a massive collapse in the industry. But here's the thing, the science never actually stopped. The Institute of Bast Crops in Lviv, Ukraine, which was founded way back in 1931, just kept on researching. And today, thanks to recent legal shifts, specifically Law Number 7457, which radically simplifies the registration and growing processes, we're seeing a rapid revival. In fact, experts are projecting up to 8,000 hectares of technical hemp will be planted in Ukraine by 2025. Now, before we go any further, we absolutely have to clear the air and separate industrial innovation from outdated stigmas. Look, the stark reality is that technical hemp is just a standard, safe agricultural crop. It's grown out in open fields just like corn or wheat, and it contains virtually zero psychoactive THC, falling well below strict legal thresholds. Instead, it's packed with industrial fiber, nutritious seeds, and highly valuable CBD. On the flip side, narcotic cannabis requires closed greenhouse environments and is strictly regulated because of its high THC content. They are fundamentally different crops built for completely different purposes. Technical hemp is built for industry. And the science behind optimizing this industrial crop is actually fascinating. The Hemp Institute pioneered what are called monoecious varieties. Basically, this means the plant bears both male and female flowers on a single specimen. So why does that matter? Well, it completely changed the game for farmers. Historically, male and female hemp plants matured at totally different rates, which meant manual, labor-intensive sorting and harvesting. But a monoecious field? It grows uniformly. A farmer can literally roll a massive combine harvester right through it. It's agricultural efficiency at its absolute finest. Which brings us to the star of the show. Let's see how this genetic optimization builds into the ultimate agricultural tool, a cultivar named Mriya. So what makes Mriya a dream? And by the way, Mriya literally translates to dream. Registered in 2019 by Ukrainian scientists, Mriya was created to do something incredibly difficult. You see, in the past, farmers had to choose, do I plant a hemp strain for fiber, or do I plant one for seeds? Mriya entirely eliminates that compromise. It's a modern, multi-purpose cultivar designed to be perfectly balanced. You get premium textile fiber, you get large nutritious seeds, and as a massive bonus, you get a high yield of therapeutic CBD from the leaves and flowers. But the absolutely crucial number here is 0.05%. That's Mriya's THC level. It's practically non-existent. This makes Mriya undeniably safe, entirely non-psychoactive, and flawlessly compliant with even the strictest legal and international standards. And biologically, Mriya is an absolute powerhouse, engineered for extreme resilience. It matures in just 90 to 120 days, shooting up to an impressive 260 centimeters. That's over 8 feet tall. It boasts a really strong 8 out of 9 resistance rating against the European corn borer. But perhaps the biggest deal is that it's genetically adapted to Eastern Europe's climate stress. It can handle unpredictable rainfall and temperature swings way better than older strains. All of this while pushing out a massive 7 tons of stems per hectare and well over a ton of premium seeds. Okay, so we know it's a super plant, but let's talk economics. Why would a farmer actually choose a universal crop like Mriya over a highly specialized one? It all boils down to risk diversification. It's the circular bioeconomy in action. Think about it. If a farmer plants only wheat and the grain market tanks, they're in big trouble. But with Mriya, the harvest is totally multifunctional. The large sweet seeds go to the premium food, oil, and protein markets. The stems yield up to 37% high elasticity fiber for textiles, while the remaining woody core can be used for eco-friendly building materials like hempcrete. And the flowers are sold for CBD extraction. If one market dips, the farmer is completely protected by the others. It's literally a zero-waste masterclass. But there has been a catch. Processing has historically been a huge bottleneck. Ukraine used to have 35 massive national processing plants for hemp. Today, that number has dropped to just 3. And you can't have a booming bioeconomy if farmers have nowhere to process their harvest, right? Well, the Hlukiv Institute stepped up and designed a brilliant 1.5 tons per hour mobile processing line. This is a game changer. It literally brings the factory directly to the farm. It requires low energy and empowers small and medium-sized farms to process their own raw materials right there on site, completely bypassing the massive infrastructure bottleneck. So how does Mriya actually hold its own against the European heavyweights? Let's put it in the ring with the reigning champions. Here is Mriya's secret weapon. Its CBD content. While the leading French universal strains, Futura 75 and Felina 32, typically sit at less than 1% CBD, Mriya is rocking a massive 3%. And since CBD is a highly lucrative compound used in pharmaceuticals and cosmetics, this therapeutic edge makes Mriya incredibly valuable per hectare compared to standard European varieties. Now, the French strain Futura 75 does push out more sheer biomass, up to 12 tons of stems per hectare, but it's bred for the highly stable agricultural conditions of Western Europe. Mriya, on the other hand, is specifically bred for the unpredictable, stressful continental climate of Eastern Europe. It essentially trades a slight bit of raw stem yield for superior adaptability and that high-value CBD edge we just talked about. And even when you stack it up against the European gold standard for universal hemp, Felina 32, Mriya still pulls ahead in sheer quality. Mriya produces larger, sweeter seeds designed perfectly for the premium confectionery market, whereas Felina leans toward a standard, smaller oil seed. Plus, Mriya boasts a slightly higher percentage of highly elastic textile fiber in its stems. It really is a beautifully balanced crop. Wrapping things up, let's look beyond traditional farming. Why is this specific plant a cornerstone, not just for Ukraine's future, but for sustainable industry globally? When you look at the big picture, the applications of Mriya are staggering. First up is phytoremediation. Hemp acts like a giant environmental vacuum cleaner. Its deep roots absorb heavy metals and toxins from the soil, making it an incredibly vital tool for cleaning up war-torn and deoccupied lands. Second, it's a massive carbon sink, pulling 9 to 15 tons of CO2 out of the atmosphere per hectare, which is honestly comparable to a small forest. Third, those stems provide the high-quality cellulose needed to make hempcrete, an amazing carbon-neutral building material. And fascinatingly, research shows that hemp cellulose can even be utilized in the defense sector to create highly moisture-resistant gunpowder. Seriously, gunpowder. The Institute of Bast Crops really hit the nail on the head when they said, Mriya is not just a variety name, it is a metaphor for the revival of an entire industry. That quote perfectly captures the spirit of this entire agricultural renaissance. We're looking at the culmination of over 90 years of continuous, dedicated science, resulting in a crop that is literally purpose-built for the challenges of tomorrow. Which leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to ponder. We've just seen how modern science has unlocked the potential of a millennia-old crop to solve everything from toxic soil to sustainable construction. So as we look toward a zero-waste, regenerative future, what other ancient solutions are just sitting there, waiting to be rediscovered and engineered for tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. I really hope this sparked your curiosity about the incredible future of green technology. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.